Hey everybody, I'm Tim Mooney. If you're a student of acting and the theater, or if you just want to understand them a little better, you'll want to stick around to hear how you can finally get theatrical presence. Today, I'm working my play Lost at Santa's Village back up into performance shape. It's a kind of a keynote address about 50 years of performing on stage, and that gives me a chance to think about many of the themes that popped up in my acting textbook, Acting at the Speed of Life, Conquering Theatrical Style. I'll be performing Lost at Santa's Village this Sunday and Monday, September 13th and 14th, 2020 at 8 p.m. on Facebook, Sunday, and Zoom, Monday, and then again, Sunday and Monday, November 15th and 16th. If you're watching this video after those dates, please swing by my website at timmooneyRep.com to check in on our schedule. If you'd like to see my first acting explainer video about memorization, click here. So here we go with I finally get theatrical presence. Theatrical presence is one of those vague things that always feels a little woo-woo. It's a weird thing to talk about. It seems insubstantial. And yet, it's undeniable that every once in a while you stumble across someone who has it. And it feels like some sort of magic. You wish you had it, and you wonder what that guy's got that you don't. It wasn't until I started writing fun new versions of the plays of the 17th century French playwright Moliere that I came to understand presence in a new way. There was something about the style of those plays that led me to coach actors in a way that would bring them into a state of presence. There are always some actors who get the notion of opening up, feeling comfortable in their own skin, comfortable at being in the presence of the audience, and others that are not. I was probably one of those not present actors early on. I was intrinsically uncomfortable in a position of availability to the audience. Imagine an audition. You walk into an unfamiliar theater, you've got your memorized monologue all ready to go. Walking out onto the stage, you notice that the stage manager has left a chair out there for you to use. You proceed to turn that chair into a profile position to the audience, and you face off with the chair, delivering the monologue to an imaginary fellow actor. Obviously, this is a mistake, and most actors get this at least. They know that they at least need to provide their face to the view of the director, who has to decide whether or not to cast them. That director wants to see your emotional life flicking its way across your face, and to get that, they need to see your face in light. You always need to know where your light is. So when I face you, my audience, I refer to this as 100% of available information. Whatever's going on with me, you're going to get. But say I turn profile to you. What percent of available information are you now getting? Most of you probably just said 50%. And then they look a little closer, maybe 40, 30, 35, 25, 20% maybe lower, because the expressive part of my face is all somewhere in this front 20% of my head. The audience really wants to see your eyes and your mouth, because the muscles surrounding your eyes and your mouth are the most expressive muscles in your entire body. And it's not even only the muscles, it's the pupils contracting or dilating, it's the breath quickening or gasping. The slightest emotional impulse from your innermost being finds its way out through your eyes and your mouth, which means that you are giving your audience more story to follow, and they will respond by paying better attention so that they can pick up on those nuances and details. And yet, when we bring another actor onto the stage with us, no longer in our audition scenario, but as part of a play, we suddenly forget that ultimate responsibility of being seen. Actors love to stare into other actors' eyes. Actors love eye contact. More than human beings love eye contact. We hate eye contact in real life We love it on stage. How uncomfortable do you feel when, in the course of a casual conversation, somebody locks eyes with you and doesn't look away? We hate that. Our breathing gets shallow, our palms get sweaty, our heartbeat increases, and the moment that that person finally looks away, we are immediately able to take a deep breath again. But bring those actors onto the stage and they will insist again and again that real acting is about making eye contact, looking into the soul of their fellow performer, connecting, communing, living through this moment with that other person on the stage. Let's say I'm playing Hamlet. My acting partner over here is Horatio. We've been rehearsing for maybe 2 months together. I know what he's going to do. He knows what I'm going to do. He's wearing a costume, so am I. We're both speaking in iambic pentameter. I know how long he's going to speak before it's my turn. We've decided how we're going to stand and interact and walk around. We are in agreement. But when I look out to the audience, who am I now seeing? Yes, the audience, but who might some of those individuals be? Parents, brothers, sisters, friends, enemies, teachers, the director, other students. Maybe they're writing a paper about this performance, so they're looking down at a pad of paper. Maybe a critic from the newspaper also looking down at a pad of paper, writing things about me. So, looking this way, I get agreement. Looking that way, judgment. I hate judgment. And so I proceed to make up a lot of reasons to explain just why eye contact is so important to acting. In science, this is the well-known observer effect. The very act of observing a phenomena alters the object being observed. Because when we look to the audience, we see those many eyes looking back at us. They reinforce our insecurity. Perhaps they frown or look away or sleep. We are launched hurtling out of the situation in which we wish to be immersed. Amid our attempt to create a separate reality, we face eyes that are not a part of this reality, judging, probing, questioning, reacting. I am attempting to create Hamlet the character, but I see eyes watching Tim the actor. And I strain to manipulate Tim the actor to seem less distinguishable or to disappear inside Hamlet the character. 5 feet away from me stands a friend in the same situation, another pair of eyes on the same ride that I am taking. When I look at those eyes, I see Horatio, perhaps Ophelia, looking back at me. These eyes will not take me out of my fictional, invented being. They will not laugh at my paltry attempt to be someone new. They will not judge the fiction of my being, because it is my being which also, in turn, enables their eyes to sink deeper into their own fiction. And thus, we hang on to each other in our mutual death grip as two spent swimmers that do cling together and choke their art. Macbeth, Act 1, Scene 2. So, the first major test of presence, act like human beings act. We don't stare each other down. We check in. We look at our companion to make sure that we're on the same page in this conversation or argument, what have you, and then glance away. We look in the mirror, out the window, at a painting, take in the landscape before turning back to make sure that we're still engaging in a shared understanding. As performers, we learn to put that landscape on the downstage wall of our imaginary setting so that it will bring our eyes, our mouth, our face into an easy view of the audience. The judgment that we imagine is born out of fear of failure, that the audience will somehow declare that I am not Hamlet enough. They will judge my lack of Hamletness and write nasty things about me in their paper. I want to shut them out so that they don't see how un-Hamlet I am. In other words, I am struggling to be the opposite of present. The challenge is to get comfortable enough inside my own skin to know myself, to accept myself as Hamlet enough. I can look at you from within my own eyes and my own skin and know that I have nothing that I need to prove. I can be present with you and still be sufficiently Hamlet. I don't need you to Hamletize me. That's a major step. If you feel yourself starting to get it a bit, please hit like or subscribe because we've got one more, maybe two more big discoveries. So let's expand this thought into stylistic convention. Here's the question I always pose to actors. What is the difference between a soliloquy and an aside? If you have a hard time answering this one, don't worry. In the workshops that I offer, we stumble through a dozen possible answers before we hit on that special distinction, and it was in my efforts to explain that distinction that I got an enhanced understanding of presence. A soliloquy is defined by the fact that the actor is alone on stage. He may be talking to himself, to the audience, to God, doesn't really matter. The point is, the actor is alone, solo, as you might guess from the word soliloquy. The aside is similar to the soliloquy, but has one particular distinction. There is always someone else on stage during an aside. As such, an aside demands a unique theatrical convention. It demands that we suspend our knowledge of the laws of physics. An aside insists that, even though everyone in the auditorium can hear every word I say, we accept the fact that those sound waves coming from my mouth somehow magically divide to avoid the eardrums of the character or characters that are on stage with me, even if they're just 2 feet away. So here's the question that I ask my actors. How do you know that you're supposed to deliver the line as an aside? My actors reply, it says so in the script. Aside. Who put that word into the script? The playwright. No. The director, the stage manager. No. Eventually we established that the editor or publisher of this contemporary publication of this classical script put that word there. Why? Because the scene would not have made any sense otherwise. If the other character in the scene had overheard the line that our character just spoke, he would have exploded in anger. Given that the other character does not explode in anger, the line must have been intended to be delivered as an aside. Okay, having established that, I'm going to drop a little bomb on you here. This may make sense immediately, or you may want to tune back in for more explanation the next time I do one of these acting discussions. Hit subscribe, or perhaps pick up my copy of my book for more. Here it is. Just because some editor somewhere does not put the word aside into the script does not mean that that line is not intended to be delivered to the audience. In other words, that aside is the tip of the iceberg in this character's stylized universe. And 90 to 95% of that iceberg lies below, unnoticed, waiting to be found in a universe in which actors were comfortable being in the presence of the audience. If you'd like to get more on this topic, you'll want to check out this playlist of scenes from my acting workshops. And if you're interested in more background on my development as an actor, come catch my one-man show / keynote address, Lost at Santa's Village. I'll be doing it this Sunday, September 13th, 2020 at 8 p.m. Central, our new time, an hour earlier than before, on Facebook Live, and Monday, September 14th at 8 p.m. on Zoom. I'll be back to doing it again Sunday and Monday, November 15th and 16th. As you may or may not know, Lost at Santa's Village is one of 8 one-man plays I'm performing, soon to be 9. All of these shows are available to tour to your school, your theater, your conference, festival, either in person or virtually. You may also want to check out Acting at the Speed of Life, Conquering Theatrical Style, my acting book, packed with fun tidbits like this. As I said, I am Tim Mooney of the Timothy Mooney Repertory Theater. We are a not-for-profit organization dedicated to inspire, inform, enlighten, educate, and entertain. If you'd like to support that mission, please swing over to timmooneyRep.com and hit the donate button, or join our Patreon campaign, which has fun perks such as this book, t-shirts, coffee mugs, sometimes free performances at patreon.com/TimMooneyRep. Thanks for joining me. See you on the stage.